After speaking, he licked his face and said, "Mr. Charlie, how do you want to solve this matter today? As long as you give a solution, Wu will do everything you can to do the way you said." Isaac smiled coldly in his heart, and secretly said in his heart that this second-generation heir of the Wu family is quite capable of bending and stretching, and sure enough. However, today they provoke his own young master. It is really impossible for him to come around. Had it not been for the command of the young master, Isaac would have waited to cut them off immediately. He snorted coldly and said, "I'm sorry, I don't accept your apology, nor will the Eastcliff Wade family accept it." Ragnar held back his anger and asked in a low voice, "Mr. Isaac, how do you want to solve it?" Isaac said coldly, "Your 5 men injured the leg of my men, they will pay with legs. I want to abolish all the legs of these 5 people." As soon as these words came out, Ragnar immediately said without hesitation, "No problem. Since President Isaac has spoken, these 5 people's legs will be at your disposal." As soon as Jones Zijo heard this, he suddenly collapsed and shouted, "Ragnar! You can't be like this, right? The 5 of us have already had our arms destroyed. If our legs are destroyed, what is the difference with the living dead?" Ragnar scolded coldly, "DMN, your arms were scrapped because you were inferior to human skills, and your legs are scrapped because you offended President Isaac. This is all your fault, you deserve it. You." Jones Zijo roared angrily, "Ragnar, you are an old tortoise, be it starred. If I knew you had such a face, I Jones Zijo should screw your head off." Ragnar was furious and said to Isaac, "Mr. Charlie, you see, for this kind of be it starred thing, you break their legs, it is all kind of grace to them. Such people should be killed directly." Isaac smiled playfully and said, "They were damned originally, but I saw the carved calligraphy on their foreheads, and felt that the 5 of them had to live well to be worthy of the artwork on their foreheads." Ragnar's face suddenly became a little ugly. The foreheads of these 5 people were all engraved with words that insulted the Wu family. Isaac actually said that these words are works of art. Isn't that an insult to the Wu family? However, he dared not pretend to force Isaac, so can only laugh with him and say, "Since Mr. Isaac, you think they are meant to be alive, please interrupt their legs and let them be useless persons forever." Isaac nodded playfully, and said to his men, "Come on, first interrupt these 5 dogs' legs for me." Ragnar breathed a sigh of relief. It seems that Isaac can calm down his anger this time. However, he felt wrong again in an instant. Isaac just said, "First, interrupt the legs of these 5 dogs? Why is it first? Is there anything behind?" Before Ragnar had figured out what Isaac's remark meant, Isaac's men had already moved. His subordinates are also top masters, but if you really talk about strength, no one may be better than Jones Zijo. However, Jones Zijo is now half a dead dog, and it may be okay to deal with ordinary people, but dealing with premium man is simply a waste. Therefore, facing Isaac's men, he has no opportunity to refute or resist. Charlie had already planned his destiny in advance. Jones Zijo's heart was extremely desperate and dead. He never dreamed that he would end up like this. If his legs are also abolished, wouldn't he be completely cold in this life? At that time, he will be a D***CK with a broken arm and leg, lying on the bed, unable to move, and not even capable of taking care of himself. At this time, Isaac's men stepped forward to Jones Zijo and the others, and the first one started with Jones Zijo. The man said coldly to some of his men, "Hold his legs for me." Several men immediately stepped forward and pressed Jones Zijo's legs to the ground. Immediately afterwards, the man took out a finger tiger made of pure steel from his arms, put it on his hand, and slammed it against Jones Zijo's right knee. The whole knee was suddenly broken into slag. Jones Zijo suddenly felt a piercing pain, and kept wailing. But this is only halfway through. The other party then slammed on the knee of his other leg again, and with a click, the knee cracked. Afterwards, this person kept abandoning all the legs of these 5 bodyguards. There was a wailing in the living room of the presidential suite. Ragnar's complexion did not change the slightest. These 5 people, he couldn't wait to kill them directly, so he didn't care about their current fate. He only cared, is Isaac satisfied? If not satisfied, what else would he want? So he asked Isaac, Mr. Isaac, I don't know the result now, are you still satisfied? Isaac said coldly, of course not satisfied. Ragnar trembled all over, and hurriedly asked, Mr. Isaac, how can you be satisfied? Isaac looked at him with a cold expression in his eyes. It's very simple, I want you and your son to give a leg. What? Ragnar looked startled and blurted out, Mr. Charlie, are you kidding too much? Isaac squinted his eyes and asked him, which one of your eyes saw me joking with you? Ragnar stepped back involuntarily in fright, and blurted out in a panic, Mr. Isaac, the person under your hand has had a little conflict because of a little misunderstanding. Why should you take this seriously? As he said, he lowered his posture and said in a humble tone, if Wu did not do well in any way, please make it clear that Wu will make all efforts to correct it. You don't need to continue to hold on to it. It hurts the harmony between our two families, right?